Pocan for his 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Madam Mayor, Mr. Chair, and Mr. Lee for being here today. First off, I want to say I'm one of those sponsors of the measure for DC statehood. Proud to have voted for that. In fact, I think today you just, in a few minutes, made the case stronger than I think I've heard. You know, the fact that 27 years of passing audits, Department of Defense has failed 7 in a row. That's our record. AAA rating, 10 out of 25 major cities having that. And yet the problem is we've shortchanged you $83 million over the last 4 years, and we can't pass our budgets on time, and that has ripple effects on how you operate. I'd like to just specifically talk about that. Not only do we have a problem with our review and we don't do that timely, I'd love to hear a little more about that, but also when we don't pass our budgets or we have continuing resolutions, how does that directly impact, you know, you've maintained all this, you know, strong financial measures, but we've made it hard. And then when we do meddle, we tell you, you know, what healthcare women can get, what your traffic laws are, a whole lot of other things. Can you just talk a little more about the problems we cause for the district?
Well, first of all, we have and we are able to continue the operations of the district even if the Congress has a discussion whether you're going to continue the operations of the federal government. So that we've been able to separate ourselves with your help from that discussion. Still, it creates a lot of anxiety if there is a discussion in the city about if the Congress will continue to operate. We have the businesses that work with the federal government and Congress concerned. We have some contractors who won't get paid. We have then people who won't get paid, who live in the district, Maryland and Virginia and other places for the federal government. So that continues to be a concern for us. We have, and as the chairman has testified, even our local laws passed democratically by the Council of the District of Columbia are sent to the Congress, and sometimes they're layovers. When I sign our bills, frequently I'm signing bills that I've already signed, but I have to have a congressional emergency because it hasn't been fully approved on the Congress, by the Congress. So there are just inefficiencies in that process that locally elected officials decide, and that should be final at that decision point. I'll turn to the chairman.
Yeah, if I may add, so the mayor noted the instability, which is significant. I noted that the Wall Street ratings agencies note this as a negative factor in their ratings for us. Our debt service, we pay a bit more for debt. When there was the shutdown a few years ago, the city picked up the trash on the mall. That was a cost that we bore. Our revenues drop if there's a shutdown long enough. The chief financial officer has done estimates in the past. But, you know, there'll be just less going on in the city, and therefore our revenues will drop. The public thinks that we are federally funded. And it is true, decades ago, we received a significant federal payment, but we are not federally funded. Our $21 billion budget, I think less than 1% is discretionary federal payments. But the public thinks we are, and so that too adds to the anxiety or the instability when the federal government is going through these tussles over the debt limit or continuing resolutions. Public thinks the district is going to be shut down as well.
Thank you. Just a quick question for the mayor also. January 6th, many of us were around. You didn't have the ability to call out the National Guard.
Right.
Can you talk about that for a second, and if there is a different way you'd be able to handle something like that?
Well, yes. So the DC National Guard, or sometimes say it's a misnomer because it is unlike the Maryland National Guard or the Virginia National Guard that report to the governors of those states. That is not the case in Washington, D.C. The D.C. National Guard reports to the president. And
would you like to have authority to be able to?
We would. We think it's very important. And in fact, you know, the closer that governing is to the people being governed, we think is better, first of all. We would take great pride in it, like we do in all of our public safety agencies like MPD. We believe that we can strengthen recruitment. We believe that we can attract more people to the Guard. And we think it's necessary to be more nimble in cases of emergency.
Thank you. I'll yield back my 1 second.